Hi, welcome to another SCARFS video. So SCARFS is my system for identifying and then addressing issues with sentence structure. We got up to A. A stands for agreement. Now this is the big one, as I've said before. And the last area in terms of agreement that I would like to talk about is what we call parallel structure within our sentences. Sometimes also called parallelism, which is an interesting word. But basically it's just about creating balance in our sentences. So when comparing or listing ideas in a sentence, if the parts mirror one another, then you'll find that your sentence flows better and that the ideas feel more connected. So that's what we're after. Now, there's three common areas where people run into issues with parallel structure in their sentences. And I think the best way to help somebody who is having this issue is to be able to identify which of these common areas is something that they're struggling with, so that you can then show them a simple example of that and then ask them to go and look at their own work and apply the changes there as necessary. But to do that, you need to be able to identify which of these three common areas is the issue. So let's go through those with some little examples to help you. The first one is listing ideas, okay, and that can also be listing actions or clauses. The second one is when we're comparing two ideas or actions or clauses. And then the last one is what I call paired phrases. So that's when you might have not only and then the phrase, but also and then the phrase, and those two phrases need to match. Okay, so let's start with listing ideas, because that's a fairly simple one to understand. So I've got two examples here. He likes to run, swimming, and cycling. So in this case, often with this, it's about the verbs. Okay, so you'll see here that we've got two ing verbs. They're what we call gerund verbs. It's just the fancy name for ing verbs. Okay, but we've got two of those, and then we've got to run. So there's a mismatch there. That's why it sounds a little bit funny. So to fix it, we either need to make them all gerund verbs with the ing. So he likes running, swimming, and cycling, or make them all the same as this. So he likes to run, to swim, and to cycle. It doesn't really matter which way. Obviously, it's easier to just change one word, so let's do that for now. And then we've got parallel structure. Okay, this second example is slightly different. The students were told to bring notebooks, pens, and that they should have completed the reading. The reason that sounds a bit off towards the end is we've got a list of things here, the things that the students needed to bring, and the first two are nouns. But then the second one is this, it's like a whole clause, they should have completed the reading. That's where the lack of parallel structure comes in. Now there is a noun, the reading, like whatever they've been given to read. So we really want to match these nouns. We want one noun, two nouns, and three nouns. So we need to turn this into a noun. So we could just say the students were told to bring notebook, pens, and their completed readings or reading. Okay, so then we've got three nouns: notebooks, pens, and reading or readings. So we've got parallel structure. Okay, let's have a look at the next one, which is when we're comparing two things. Okay, so the second area is when we're comparing not items within a list within our sentence, but two things within a sentence, and we still want that parallel structure, otherwise it can sound a bit off, and I'll show you what I mean. Running on the beach is more tiring than the grass. The reason this sounds a little bit off is because what comes before our comparing word, than, and what comes after, they don't match in terms of their grammatical structure. What are we comparing? We're comparing running on the beach to running on the grass. Okay, that's really what we're comparing, but it just says the grass. So if we make the structure the same and make this running on, then our sentence has balance. Running on the beach is more tiring than running on the grass. Much better. Okay, here's another example. She said she would call me, but that she won't text. So in this case, we're comparing two clauses. The first clause being she said she would call me, and the second one being she won't text. Okay, but they don't match. And this is actually a callback to the earlier agreement video that we did on tenses, because the reason these don't match is this clause is in past tense with would, whereas this clause is in present tense with the contraction of will not to become won't. So to match them, they've got to be the same. So she said she would call me, but that she wouldn't text. Okay, you could even change it all present tense to all present tense by saying she says she will call me but she won't text, but it's got to be one or the other to get that beautiful balance. Okay, last common mistake when it comes to parallel structure in agreement is what I call paired phrases. So let me give you an example so that you understand what I mean. The project was completed not only quickly, but also with no sections missing. So here's our two phrases, not only quickly and with no sections missing. Okay, it's not terrible, but it will be clearer and it would flow better if we matched the style, the grammatical features here. Now we've got quickly, which is an adverb, okay, describing how the project was completed. Can we come up with another adverb that describes the project being completed with no sections missing? Well, I think perhaps something like thoroughly would do the job. You know, you do something thoroughly, then you've done it all and there's nothing missing. And then we get that nice balance. The project was completed not only quickly, but also thoroughly. Okay, so it's all about improving our language by getting that balance throughout all of our sentences. Thank you.